Chapter 1. Introduction to Consciousness, the Ego and the Spirit. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. African proverb. Life isn't the time or place to be judgmental. Not life on Earth where we all share human form. We all have a unique collective of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is my belief that in life we are all destined to have important, cherished relationships with people who possess strengths different from our own and weaknesses that we have to respectfully approach with enduring patience, humility, kindness, and understanding. There will always be people who are both more and less evolved than you are. In addition to not being able to judge others with completely clean hands, judgments by humans are typically done without the appropriate context. Most things, in fact, are judged without the appropriate context or awareness of the actual cause and effect, which helps me to understand why judging isn't the job of the human being. It appears that only the Most High, or ultimate creator, as some would say, has all of the relevant facts for any particular situation. A judge presiding over a courtroom, for example, can only hope to be led by the all-knowing spirit within and trust that the laws of the universe will ensure that justice, with the appropriate dose of mercy, is always served. Some of our greatest trials, tests, and challenges in life will deal with people that we either love or with whom we have important business or social relationships. Whatever the case, life clearly presents a constant set of challenges, and how we deal with these challenges individually and collectively will likely determine our state of harmony with ourselves and with the people that we need in this lifetime, the future of our souls, and also the fate of our planet that we appear to unconsciously take for granted. Recognizing the enemy within. Most people who are not too far removed from their right minds wish for harmony in their lives and harmony in their relationships with others. If the ego has been consciously or unconsciously identified with and has overtaken the individual, this person will likely seek something that appears to be the opposite of harmony as judged by behavior. African proverbs have described this concept as having an enemy within, and self-observation should provide confirmation of its existence. Those experiencing an enemy within episode have lost, to a large degree, awareness of one's own behavior and the karma-creating effects of such, and may need to experience suffering or a stillness intervention in order to return to consciousness. The ego is a living entity within each of us that secretly seeks to cause pain and disharmony by separating us from the spirit of the Most High that is within us. Since the laws of the universe have demonstrated that when we seek to cause pain in others, we also cause pain to ourselves, the intention of the ego is to ultimately destroy the person that it lives within, which is what I believe happened to our beloved Tupac Shakur, for example. I'm certain that on at least one occasion that Tupac's spirit instructed him to be at peace, to make peace, and that peace would be brought upon him. However, his ego, or enemy within, was provoked, and he proceeded to release energy into the universe, which accumulated and created his untimely destruction. The ego, or enemy within, must not be embraced or identified with in order to prevent it from taking over our being and placing us on a path to cause and receive more pain based on our behavior, which, when coupled with the laws of the universe, require us to be served that which we deserve. When a sense of superiority, inferiority, anger, or any form of unhappiness appears, it is likely the enemy within, and it is very important to stay mentally alert of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and to not listen to any music or take in any images, including from the news media, that identify with the negative feelings that have arisen within us. The rules of harmony. In order to have harmony in our daily lives, we must first be present, consciously aware of our thoughts, feelings, actions, vibrations, and surroundings. We must perpetually seek to possess the knowledge of the effects that our actions have on ourselves, society, and the universe as a whole. Harmony cannot be coupled for long with unconsciousness, and ignorance is no excuse. Harmony is a product of setting and executing good intentions and creating good karma. Without good karma, one cannot consistently experience harmony because when bad karma returns, your harmony shall surely be disturbed. Only once conscious do we have the ability to set good intentions in every area of our lives and to work diligently to become the person required to manifest whatever it is that may be desired. Returning to your spirit, the power that we can obtain and develop when practicing consciousness, which I describe as the art of being present and alert of the earthly and spiritual effects of our thoughts and actions, provides knowledge of our true self, as well as the willpower to align our actions with the truest source that we've ever known, our spirit, which is our own personal light of life and gift from the Most High, a light of truth and direction. When we go within and are led by the Spirit, all fear leaves the mind and body, and one is able to walk confidently with the Most High. When one with the Spirit, one is firmly aware that nothing can happen to a person, city, or country that is not first approved of by the Most High. In the face of an enemy, even when outnumbered 1,000 to 1, not one piece of hair on your head may be harmed without permission from the Most High. The only fear that shall remain with someone who is led by their spirit within is fear of what might happen if one is led astray and becomes trapped within the grips of the ego and is unable to be led by their light of life, which is the effect of one's own cause. Dangers of the ego. Dancing with the devil. When we go against the spirit within us, we chose to be led by the ego because we have chosen to make decisions and to pursue a path that the spirit cannot support, and we become like sleepwalkers, unable to see or avert the many dangers that are found on the path of the ego. When led by the ego, which can find its beginning with just one bad decision to take action, contrary to the voice of our spirits, we are walking in darkness and are bound to stumble, both literally and metaphorically. The Spirit attempts to lead us always, but when we go against what the Spirit is communicating to us, we allow our egos to convince us that we will be okay doing things another way, which will typically lead to failure, depression, suffering, and, when blessed with another chance, an awakening. Your ego will cause you to lose people that you love, and also cause you to do things that make you worthy of great suffering or death, requiring mercy from the Most High. Whereas confidence, esteem, self-respect, and the giving and receiving of appreciation are good and healthy to the spirit, the ego is a different animal and must be conquered. The ego is easily offended, which quite often leads to an enemy within experience where the ego shows its true colors. The ego breeds jealousy in self and seeks to breed jealously in others, which is dangerous and oftentimes leads to the suffering or death mentioned above. Like a disease that pretends to be a friend to the body while it multiplies in size and power, the ego can be a silent enemy within until it believes it is strong enough to kill and destroy both the host and others, which is all the same. For these reasons, I am declaring the ego to be the entity that we know and refer to as Satan the devil, assuming it to be a factual story when Jesus said, "Get from behind me, Satan," after Jesus was tempted to jump from a mountain because he's the Son of God and would surely be protected by angels. It is likely that he was speaking to his ego, a voice coming from his own mind which he properly described as Satan. As a representative of the entity that we know of as Satan the devil, when we choose to take a path or set an intention not consistent with the voice of our spirits, we are in essence asking the ego, the beast that we refer to as the devil, to take a ride with us. And unfortunately, the ride rarely, if ever, ends after the intended singular mission, and may continue for days, months, or years, resulting in the need for mercy from the Most High and a new spiritual awakening. Once in the car with the devil, a person may continue to sing praises to the Lord and even partake in some activities that are considered to be righteous. But don't be fooled. The devil is in control of such a person and will seek to cause havoc at the appointed time. As a liar and a deceiver, the ego works in secret, unknowingly to the host, seeking to kill and destroy. Some believe that the ego was given to us by the Most High and therefore must serve in some positive capacity. I believe that through a combination of our uncontrollable environments and our misuse of free will, we make decisions that allow the energy that creates the ego to be born or activated and to live within us. I don't believe any babies are born with activated egos, but they are created and activated within each of us after exposure to energy forces not representative of the Most High, operating as the entity that we know as Satan. When our egos are offended, we are then most tempted to speak or act in a way that we later usually describe as devilish. And the more that we feed our egos, the stronger it becomes, and the more capable it is to lead us to our own destruction. Therefore, when we feed our egos, we are essentially feeding the entity that we know and refer to as the devil. This entity can also be referred to as our lower self or our dark side. As a former supporter of gangster rap, I can attest that much of it is ego music, as it oftentimes speaks to responding to life's situations in a way that is clearly contrary to our spirits. Observation and self-reflection reveals a rich history of the use of music as a method of conditioning, and it is currently being used to destroy generations of people. By destroy, I mean disconnecting them from their spirits and persuading them to live by the voice of their egos. I've learned from experience that when we put negative karma into the world consciously, it returns with a vengeance. And when we put negative karma into the universe unconsciously, it returns just strong enough to hopefully awaken us and get our attention. Therefore, we are always responsible for our own actions, even when done unconsciously, which makes taking guard of what energy forces we allow ourselves to be exposed to of the utmost importance if we wish to live divinely, in peace, and in line with the wishes of the Most High. Pride, an extension of the ego and the fall of many. Pride often disguises itself as self-respect, but is actually an extension of the ego and is an enemy to the spirit and a blockade preventing many people who are living by the voices of their egos from returning to their spirits. As self-respect prevents a person from mistreating themselves and from accepting disrespect from others, people filled with pride might actually think they are weak if they show consideration or respect to others. As an extension of the ego, the goal of pride is to destroy the person that it lives within by separating them from their families, causing them to lose their freedom, and in some cases, bring them to an untimely death that could have been avoided had it not been for their pride. Although a person with pride may be facing the possibility of becoming homeless, a prideful man or woman may be unwilling to accept a job that the person considers to be beneath him or her. On the other hand, a person with self-respect has too much respect for themselves to become homeless if the situation is avoidable. A person with pride is usually unconscious to the laws of the universe and may often put energy or karma into the universe that a wise person with self-respect would likely be unwilling to intentionally allow to occur because the person knows that all of our actions are karmic in nature. A wise person with self-respect won't intentionally disrespect someone, even if the person knows that the person that's disrespected has no means by which to retaliate, because a wise person knows that the disrespect will be returned to him or her at some later time or date. To intentionally disrespect someone is to intentionally disrespect yourself, because the law of karma will be sure to return the energy that you released into the universe. Pride causes many people to withhold due apologies, prevent them from admitting error, or from accepting help, and in some cases, from displaying love and affection to others in the most important or critical of times. Pride is a friend to no one, and a person who is filled with pride should seek to conquer it by means of meditation and prayer to the Most High, and then the use of all of your power. Dealing with the egos of others. Although many people, including myself at times, have no interest in catering to the egos of others, it is important to be gentle and tactful when dealing with the egos of others. A person being led by their ego is in a heightened state of sensitivity and can be compared to a person standing at the edge of a high mountain. A push in the wrong direction can send such a person off the edge and into a chaos-creating state of mind where the person begins to unconsciously or uncontrollably put negative energy into the universe that almost always returns to the perpetrator. And the intensity of such return typically depends on the level of mercy granted by the Most High. To intentionally do such a thing to a person is the equivalent of doing such a thing to oneself, and should be avoided with all thine energy and might. To intentionally offend the devil in others opens the door for someone to successfully offend the devil in you. The Most High has either created this universe or has allowed for it to be created with a certain set of laws that seek to maintain peace, balance, and order. Harmony comes to those who work diligently to keep harmony with self, others, and the universe, including with nature and with the animals, both large and small. Befriending ego beings. Befriending or dealing with ego beings on a social level is also something not to be taken lightly, and caution should be duly exercised. Although life isn't the time or place to be judgmental, one must always observe the surrounding energies and allow the spirit to provide guidance. When someone is living with the sole purpose of feeding the ego, this person becomes extremely dangerous when the ego is bruised and may secretly seek to destroy the person that is held to be responsible for such bruising, which may result from simple activities such as beating the other person in a friendly game or receiving better grades in school than the other person. Once under the control of the ego and on its mission to destroy, the ego being may seek to rationalize the reasons behind the hate for the other person, which is merely a cover for the fact that the person's ego was bruised and the person has been deceived into believing that the ego is the only thing that the person has to live for. Since no one person has the strength, wisdom, and discipline to follow his or her spirit 100% of the time, we all from time to time fall under the spell of the ego. However, it is wise to choose friends and business associates who seek alignment with the Most High before all else. Although those seeking alignment with the Most High may fall under the ego and have their egos wounded, such friends and associates are not likely to be persuaded by the ego to carry out prolonged missions of hate, which in essence are missions of self-destruction, since hatred causes more damage to the temple that it resides within than it does to any temple that it attempts to obliterate. The power to co-create your own reality. Although I believe that the Most High maintains ultimate authority over our lives and over the universe as a whole, it appears that each of us spirit beings have the power to control, in large part, our realities by controlling our thoughts, feelings, intentions, and our karma, which I describe as a combination of our intentions and how well we have executed on those intentions, whether good or bad. This, I believe, has caused many people to consider themselves to be gods, which, depending on the context used, may be accurate if meant to infer one's self as a spiritual creator, but in no way should a human ever consider himself to be the equivalent of the Most High. The harder that we try to live righteously, the louder our spirits speak to us. When we disregard our spirits, the voice turns into a silent whisper until the moment of awakening. Your spirit will lead you to contact to uplift someone at the perfect time when they need it the most. Your ego, on the other hand, will lead you to contact someone and deliver negative energy to them at the worst time in an attempt to give them a heart attack or to derail them from their righteous path, which will usually lead to two-way suffering. There are no coincidences in the universe, and careful observation should confirm the validity of these statements. In conclusion, it is fair to state that I have been introduced to both the Most High and the Devil, and the meeting place was inside of me.